Hello everybody, welcome back. Martin here. Today I'm going to talk about the IELTS certificate, which is the certificate that everybody needs if they want to come to UK to work, study or to live. It's a test of your English competency, listening, speaking, writing, reading. So here we are. Here's a few examples here which we'll talk about in a minute. I'm an English tutor and I teach the IELTS course, and very often my students ask me about buying a certificate online. There are thousands upon thousands of very professional looking websites offering to supply you with the IELTS certificate without having to take the test. So what we're going to talk about today is how to recognize that your certificate is a fake, basically, and it's never going to get you anywhere except give you a load of heartache. Okay, I've got some certificates here which we'll go through just in a moment. I've got a selection of 3 here and I will show you exactly why they are quite obviously false. Let's look at the first one here. This one fairly obviously is false. I could see that was false from the other side of the street. I don't have to look at this in any detail whatsoever. The second one I have here, slightly better. The candidate's details and the photo have been obscured, but it's still, apart from that, it's still quite easy to tell that this one is a fake. The third one I have is the best one. This one, to all intents and purposes, looks pretty good, but we'll have a look at this one in detail in a moment and we'll pick up all the features that are wrong with it. Okay, let's go and have a look at these in greater detail, each one. Okay, here we have the first one. Now, the most glaring obvious error with this, and I'll point this out with my little pointer here, the picture. If you look at the picture, there's a greyish looking background. An original will never have that. The original is completely cropped. The person is cropped away from the background and the image is superimposed on the original paper. The IELTS original paper, I've got a sample here. It's not the exact one, but it's to demonstrate. This is what the paper looks like. It says IELTS, 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 IELTS all over it. And if any of this writing is out of line in any way, it's fairly obvious that the original sheet has been tampered with. So we'll get back to that in a minute. Second thing, the IELTS writing, which covers the whole of the page. Let me see if I can show you that really close up. I don't know if I can show you that really close. But there appears to be none in these boxes. So that's obviously been tampered with as well. So that one's not so good. Let's look at the second one, which is slightly better. But again, ignore the fact that the image has been obscured. But again, this is very dark and there's no IELTS watermark in the background. Now, if we go down here to the stamp, this is the most obvious thing with the stamp. Let me just show you that close up. Okay, there's the British Council stamp. Now, that doesn't fit in the box. The stamps are always round. And if you look at this stamp, it's quite obviously been homemade. If you look at these 4 dots here, the dots aren't in line with each other. Can you imagine the British Council making something so crude as that stamp? The dots are always perfectly in line. The same with everything. Look at the British Council stamp here. The dots are quite different. They're almost touching each other, which is always the case. The dots here, well, they're quite amateur really. So that one also is quite obvious. You could see that one the other side of the street as well that was wrong. So let's look at the third one. The third one is actually quite good. So data has been obscured again. Don't worry about that. But if we look here, the picture looks good. There is, you can't quite see, maybe not see it here, but the IELTS writing is okay. The stamp says British Council, but if you look closely, you will see there are certain details missing here. This code here at the bottom is can be deciphered quite easily, but these four letters, where it says MRLS, where it says MRLS, these four letters are a combination of your surname and your Christian name. So the first three letters are your surname, and the fourth letter is the first letter of your first name. So this person's surname is Mendoza. So that should be M-E-N, not M-R-L. What the fraudsters have done here is they've just taken the first letter of each of their four names and written M-R-L-S, which is completely wrong. So that should be M-E-N-L. So although this is quite a good one, that is a glaring error. This here is a glaring error. But also, I don't know if we can tell, maybe not be able to tell by looking, but some of these lines don't match up. I wonder if I can see it that way. No, it doesn't show up on the camera. But if you look closely at this image here, it's not being cropped according to the sort of regular rectangle. It's being kind of cropped in a haphazard pattern all around here. But if you look at these lines of IELTS coming across, they don't match up. It's difficult to see if that is the case. It's difficult to see, but trust me, there's a bit of fuzziness around here, and a bit of fuzziness around here, a bit of fuzziness around this area here. And these IELTS lines definitely do not match up. There's one there, lines up, and then it's slightly lower there than it is there. All these lines, like my test piece here, would be 100% in line throughout. And what the manufacturers of the certificate do is they just superimpose your cropped portrait image over the top of the paper. So this one, although this one's quite good, it's a fake, unfortunately. Another thing to tell, on this code at the bottom, the center number is coded into here, and the center number appears up here, UZ004, which is Uzbekistan. This chap comes from Uzbekistan. Here we are. But the code doesn't always, this code down the bottom here, doesn't always have the same information that it should have, because all this information is just an amalgam of what's on the page here. But sometimes this isn't correct. Not only that, you can actually check this code online. If you just go to Google IELTS and UZ004, it will tell you if that code is in the place they say they have taken the test. The final thing is that on every document down the bottom here, there is a website address which institutions such as colleges, universities, obviously the government, can check up and see that this certificate has not been registered. The only way a certificate can be registered is if you go to the test centre and do the test yourself. The certificate, if you pass, is automatically registered by them. There is no other body of people, organisations, anything like that who can actually register your certificate for you, even though they say on these websites, verified, registered, everything like that. You're wasting your money if you buy one. And another thing, if you try to use your certificate to gain entry to a university in UK, you will lose your place and you will not be allowed to apply for that course or even that college ever again. So is it worth the risk? If you try to use your false certificate to gain entry to the country through immigration, you will be banned from the country for 5 years or 10 years, depending on the circumstances in which you've tried to use it. So it's really not worth it. The only way to obtain this certificate is put in the work, learn the language, have the test done at the British Council in your country. That's the only way you can have it done. Otherwise, you're just causing yourself problems, you're wasting your money, and maybe your dreams will never come true. So good luck. Take care out there. Bye.